Alright, so we have a Genji here who recently hit GM for the first time. Has a lot of hours on Genji, but recently started tryharding on Genji. So that kind of is rough because sometimes it can just be that you're hitting GM because you have great mechanics and you don't know all the ins and outs of the hero that you're actually hitting GM on. Okay, so far, if I was looking at this, I would say okay, fine at best. The two issues that I would have so far, especially because I'm going to be going pretty in depth here because I'm going to be treating you like you are Grandmaster, even if it was one of your first times hitting Grandmaster. First issue is that this is the time on the clock. We are in overtime. We have hit our 15-second mark, but we're farming our blade really slowly, and we haven't hit tab. So we don't know exactly what they're running. We may think that we got a pretty good view at them up here, but there's always surprises. We always make mistakes. So hit tab real quick to see their comp. Don't be an idiot in that manner. From there, the fact that we've hit this much time, and the fact that we are only 10% to blade. So we're 30 seconds in, and we should be aiming for about 2-minute blades on Dorado Genji. Obviously, that can adjust based on team comps, based on other things, but 2 minutes should be about our minimum so that we can guarantee that we have 2 nano blade chances. Ideally, I'd like you to be even faster. And we are nowhere near that 2-minute mark yet. And part of that was because you went on like kind of a weird route up top, sat there for a second, got dynamited, had to drop down, went back around, shot at a shield, came over to this high ground now. There was an Ashe on the bridge that we could have tried to farm, but instead we went over here, and now we're flanking again. And really it just feels to me like you've been spending a long time trying to get these fancy positions. Which, like, this is cool and all, but what are you really going to do? Are you going to one-shot the Zen here? If you can, and if you have faith in your abilities to that level, awesome. You're really going to help your team. But there we go. We already really missed our one-shot opportunity right there. Unlucky, but now we've spent all this time doing essentially nothing. Because, again, we were on a fancy flank route, which Genji... And the style may start to come back more and more as the meta shifts, but Genji's fancy flank routes really haven't been getting much value in the recent months. Like, we literally did just about nothing there, and now we're approaching the 1-minute mark, which means that we should be at a minimum halfway to our blade, and we are not. And now again we're on fancy flank route. They have Widow and Ashe, so as Genji, why would you not try and farm the Widow? Or do you not even know they have Widow because we haven't hit tab at all? Spent the entire time on that flank route, which took us out of the fight for too long. You have the problem that so many Genjis have, so many Sombras have, to where you spend so long getting in position that your team has already lost a 5v6. The utility style of Genji has been much more common, and has a much higher success rate. And the utility style of Genji would be kind of playing around your Rhine, or even your Hog, help them finish people that they hooked. If your Rhine fire strikes someone and gets them low, you can finish that person with a dash, because neither of those things can be stopped by shields. You can deflect oncoming damage if they throw an anti at your Rhine, if he has to drop shield, and it lets you farm your blade really, really fast. It's like the utility style or like the kind of nano blade style. And if you were playing that style, like, look how close they're playing to your Rhine right here. They're right in front of him. Right in front of him. You could have farmed your blade 3 times, twice probably by now. But instead, we're not going to get our first one in that 2-minute mark, it doesn't look like even. And 2 minutes should be our bare minimum at a GM level.
Fucking retards.
Dude, we've never shot their 2 tanks, ever.
I am glad we're finally looking at Tab. And so we know that they used Bob. And so we know that they used Widow. Or we know that they just swapped. So we know that they don't have either of those. So, you know, we're looking at these 3, and this one, which partially makes me think about my Nano Blade. That's really what I'm worried about out of all of these. Because we know that he has ult because we've been so slow, and he's even been doing good damage. He's one of the people that killed us earlier. And so I'd really want to see you either working with your Mei, you know, working with your Ana to maybe do a naked blade and then using Nano for something else to force out Transcendence. But I'm going to be curious to see how that goes, because at a GM level, you should not be getting outplayed just because of a Transcendence.
I don't know, man, but not their fucking tanks. Because I'm literally sitting there melting the shield the entire and no one else does damage and never break.
And again, we're on a flank route.
I got you.
Why did we do this? This took so long. We are 3 minutes into the match, and that is our first flank that actually got any sort of value. And we just got our Transcendence, so we're running at quite a long time to get our ult there. So we really gotta be looking at that. But we saw their Zen use Transcendence, we saw them use Grav, so they have pretty much nothing to stop our Nano Blade. So you and your Ana should be pressing Q fast here, as soon as you guys can. Don't let them farm more ults to stop you. Don't let this Reaper farm your Mercy. There you go. Let's just kind of look at when we pushed in, okay? I think that maybe we tunnel visioned the Reaper, because look at this. There's our Mercy, which we definitely should have known, because we were here. There's our Rhine. There's our Zarya. There's our Hog. Why would we ever hold W right now? It is 5 versus 2. I don't understand this at all, and all you're doing is feeding that crucial Transcendence that's going to block your Nano Blade. So now the Nano Blade that we've been waiting all game for may be blocked by a Transcendence. So if I were you, would not be going up top now. Reaper is not your job generally to deal with this Genji. It's a hard kill to get. It is not effective. It's not a good use of your time. You know that you need to be nano blading as soon as humanly possible here to try and prevent them from having their ult combos up. And frankly, from the use that I've seen of your deflect, if you're fighting that Ana from so far away, I feel like you're going to get slept, just from what I have seen. And so I don't want you going up top here. Like, what were we deflecting here? This is kind of what I mean with your use of deflect. No one's even really looking at you besides the Zarya, who we can't deflect. You literally end up deflecting nothing there. And there you go. That Zen has now used 2 Transcendences in the time that you have not used 1 blade.
ever gonna blade?
I'm with him. We could have
Let's
won
go dive.
either fight by now. You're blading. Just run up to them and blade.
Stop going up there, dude. They just camp it.
There is a very legitimate strategy to winning an Overwatch that involves just making sure that your team presses Q first.
I swear, if this fucking Genji doesn't Dragon Blade this fight, I'm leaving.
I don't think he's necessarily handling his problems the best, Your Honor, but I do see where he's coming from. Your ult does not have to be a 6k. A 2k will win your team the fight, and that Zen has now transcendenced 4 times, and you have bladed once. Next time you're in a situation like this, if you're setting up your Nano Blade, you can do specific things like wait for them to use their Transcendence, force out their Transcendence, whatever, but you cannot wait as long as you need. And so what I would do is I would tell my Ana that I'm going to use a Naked Blade, because even if you can just force Transcendence and then you guys get a free grab, your Blade got great value. Or if you see the Ana use Sleep and then you can jump on her and Blade her, you at least got value. You could have had 4 to 5 Blades this game, and you should have had 4 to 5 Blades this game, but instead, here we are getting farmed by a Zen.
We're not on point.
Definitely did not play Genji there at a GM level. I could see how you could hit GM or High Master by continually taking these, frankly, just annoying flank routes that take you out of the fight forever. But you will not succeed in that manner in GM. I would be surprised if you succeed in that manner in High Master. Because that was really, really bad. It'll work against super uncoordinated teams who feel like playing multiple DPS and don't feel like having any sort of peel for their backline. It will not work against any real team, against any stack. Any 2-stack, 3-stack could have shut down your Genji that entire game because you were playing terribly. You were playing away from your team. You had one blade the whole time. There's just so much there that I would encourage you to almost start with the building blocks. Play more of a utility style. Play around your Rhine. You only had one flank that ended well out of I don't know how many. So at least give this style a try. It's not going to hurt you. Play around your Rhine or play around your Winston, making sure that you are committed to them, going with them, farm your blade way faster. Don't pop your blade off cooldown, but pop it much more frequently with some sort of intent. If that is to force Transcendence, that is just fine. If that is to secure one kill, that is just fine. Don't go in a 5v2 situation that you're not going to win. That's just stalling out your team even longer. Don't worry about heroes like Reaper. They're not your job on Genji. If they're absolutely farming your tanks, like I'm not telling you to just completely ignore him, but generally it's a waste of your time. It's especially a waste of your time when a Reaper is holding the high ground, so you go up there to get him off. What does it matter? He can have the high ground all he wants. That was really rough. And so I would really want you to kind of watch some other Genji players to see how they play more of this utility style of Genji, where they stay around their team, where they deflect important cooldowns, where they dash in to finish kills. And honestly, one of the most successful ways of playing Genji right now is being a nano blade bot. So you have to focus on your blade usage.